educate, empower, inspire. To celebrate this year's Black History Month, Crane Financial is using our platform to highlight African American entrepreneurs that are currently making history from your communities. Join us in a discussion today on Crane Conversations.
I'm Hollis Fullilove, CEO and founder of Crane Financial. This Black History Month, Crane Financial is sitting with other Black entrepreneurs to talk about their journey in business. Right now, I'm here with the CEO, founder, creative director of Divine Creations, Mrs. Danielle Render. How you doing today?
Fantastic.
Okay, we're happy to have you here with us. Could you tell the people exactly what Divine Creations is?
So Divine Creations is an untraditional clothing company that focuses on the Divine Nine and MGC organizations. We make 100% original apparel made to order in our own manufacturing unit abroad. And so, yeah, we doing something slight, something different.
Yeah, I got my Divine Creations on. This is a personal gift from the creative director. Representing my fraternity, Roots of the Bruhs. We here. But Danielle, because I work with you as a client at Crane Financial, I have a bit of knowledge exactly what goes on in your business, and I want to kind of break down that story piece by piece to how it started in the infancy of everything to how it's matured and kind of blown up over the past year.
Crazy.
And then what's moving forward, what do we want to accomplish?
Right.
So let's take our time and tell that story. So you're a Purdue grad, went to Purdue, right? Where are you from exactly though, growing up?
Cleveland, Ohio.
Ohio.
Inner city.
Okay. So you're actually from the city of Cleveland.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And growing up, was there people that were your parents entrepreneurs? Did you have any influences on you that you said, looking out, you want to start a business?
No, not at all. And in fact, my dad, he basically had his academic troubles when he was younger because his mother passed. So he was in college and then he dropped out.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, I was like kind of a first generation grad because nobody had graduated before me. But in terms of entrepreneurship, that was not a thing.
Nothing that was preached to you, right? So you graduated from Purdue. What you get your degree in?
Engineering. I majored in multidisciplinary engineering. So that was my focus, engineering management. I wanted to do more than just traditional engineering. And I realized that I love engineering, but I think outside the box. And so that's what the program is for, multidisciplinary engineering. To allow people, or the school is called the College of Interdisciplinary Engineering. Right. So you got people who want to major in, automobile, like they love, like, for example, a friend, she loves fashion.
Yeah.
So she wanted to do like a fashion engineering type thing. So she was taking classes on the other side of campus and then coming back over and taking engineering classes. And so that program allows people to basically be engineers in their own right, take all those core classes, but then do the things that they also have passions in.
Okay.
And so for me, it was management, or just at least the other stuff that was not engineering, because those classes was something crazy. But that was my whole background there.
Okay, so you got a degree in engineering, multidisciplinary engineering, and you went into corporate America. We don't gotta say for who, but you were doing consulting, correct?
Yes.
What sort of consulting were you doing?
So we was basically in an area of which when you come and you join a firm, you're in a general program, and you focus, you have end-to-end abilities in whatever you do. So whether that's healthcare, digital, all those types of things. I did focus on a healthcare client, then I had an energy client.
Yeah.
And it was all over the place. Wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, but
but it brought you here to Atlanta though, right?
Right.
Okay.
It did.
So what I'm hearing is you pretty traditional startup. You got a degree in engineering, which most people don't do. You got a job at a really established company. How do we end up being here? What changed?
So when I started at the firm, I started to feel like, oh man, at Purdue, I was so involved in all these things.
Yeah.
I became a Delta. I was heavily involved in NSBE. I was the Region 4 chairperson, so I was sitting over 5-6 states and membership and all this different stuff. And then once you graduate college and you go and you start this firm, you're now back at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I have to build myself back up. So I had that, I guess you could say, the adjustment woes, but I felt like I couldn't find a sweet spot for me. So the thing that I wanted to do is, instead of focus on being so unhappy when I got home from work, I wanted to do something creative. And so
find an outlet.
Yes, it was my outlet. And when I came home, I found myself picking back up my laptop and designing more. initially it was like basically trying to just create some dope stuff that I would wear.
Right.
And then I got into a car accident in March of 2018 that was life-changing. That's a whole other topic we could talk about.
Right.
Because that basically in itself is really how I'm here. But I went on a trip, and I'm out in the Dominican Republic. It sounds crazy, and I hope nobody will be like, oh, she bougie, but I'm out in the Dominican Republic, and I'm like, I did a lot of praying out there, because especially after the accident, so it was really therapeutic for me, and I was like, I need to create while I'm out here, and so that's when I created one of the windbreakers, the first Delta windbreaker, and I posted it on social media trying to see how people will respond to it. They was like, oh, this is fire. Some people was telling me to change the colors and all that good stuff, but that, we're talking like November the 1st was when we started for my line. We didn't launch an actual product for Greeks on like a bulk scale until like it was May. May
of 2018.
So what, 6 months?
Oh yeah. So you at this point you designing, coming up with ideas, figuring out manufacturing, who's gonna get you the best pricing, going through samples. I can imagine.
Right.
So you got your first product and you launch it. How many did you sell? If you know an exact number.
I was like, I'm gonna make a sample, and it's crazy. The person, the manufacturer who made that sample, that's who I'm working with today. We just connect very well, but I remember I was like, please just make me a sample because I don't want to buy this product and it don't sell. So the first thing you do is do it based off pre-orders.
Pre-order, yeah.
Yeah, so I did it based off pre-orders. I think I had like 20 pre-orders.
That's good.
20, 30 pre-orders.
That's
and,
solid.
You sell your product and it's less than what it's actually worth. And yeah, but anyways... But pre-order wise, it was like 20 to 30 when we first started.
So you got your first 20, 30. How are you feeling? Are you excited? Like, oh man, like that's a big number.
Yeah. Right? So I'm reporting back like, all right, I need you to make this much and this many sizes. I'm hype at this point. And then, when it actually got to the customer, a post went viral.
Yeah. So a customer took a picture of it and posted it on social media.
And it went viral. And it was crazy. It went viral, and then Azeta had quote retweeted it, and she was like, "Make this in Zeta," and I'm buying it. And so I immediately jumped on making a mock-up in their colors and everything, and I started a pre-order for them. And actually, more Zetas pre-ordered that than it was the Deltas that did the first round.
So you see a momentum and actual growth. Instantly.
Right. And so I did one more pre-order after that. I said, before the fall comes, I want to do another pre-order. And I had opened it up to Eshiro, also AKA. And I had I think at that point it was like 40 or 50.
Right.
And then when it came down to we coming around to the fall, now we're doing actually just paying in advance for 50 pieces or whatever the case may be. It was insane.
What was the shift at that point to where it was like, okay, because now we see you have a warehouse, you're ready to move into another warehouse, you got multiple people on your staff. Where did the shift come into where this is not just the thing I'm doing on the side, where this is my full-time focus?
When I started on the leave in October of 2018, I started going to therapy, and I started obviously just naturally with therapy. You start getting your stuff out, you start thinking a little bit more clearly, and it was towards the end of homecoming season. At this point, we done had almost over 500 sales at this point. Right. So I'm like, okay, I can't continue doing this by myself.
Right. It's getting kind of crazy.
So naturally, the first thing I do is I hit up my nails like, anybody want to help me? I swear I'll pay you. And so a couple of them joined the team, and they still on the team to this day. Yeah. It's been a blessing. But I think that was the shift. It was finally when I hit that point, it was I need a little bit more help because I can't continue to do this by myself. But I was backing up hundreds of orders by myself. I would get off from the firm and then going from coming from the office and packing. I remember I was on a clock. I knew exactly what time I had to leave the house to get to the airport to make sure I didn't miss the cutoff. Wow. And I was driving all the way down by the airport because they had a late cutoff. It's open until midnight. And so I'm bagging up hundreds of orders. It's taking me hours, but I'm getting this done, and I got to go to work the next day. And it's crazy. So when I went
shipping them all over the country? Mm-hmm. Man.
And so when I wanted to leave, it was that was the shift, I think, a lot for me. That was the major shift because it was that leave was literally okay, it's time to figure out and focus on myself in terms of my healing process. But also I started praying like crazy because it was God, I don't know if I could go back.
Right. You was looking for a breakthrough.
Yeah.
So what was the process of it all in terms of somebody was to place an order? What is is it customizable, or are you putting out designs and saying, you can purchase this design? Or how was the whole creative process? And then also, how are you then putting products together? Who are you communicating with? Where are you getting your products from?
I guess if you want to talk end-to-end process.
Yeah, end-to-end.
End-to-end. So first it's like a design. I see something, I like something, I'm like, oh, that'd be dope as a Greek item. So, I'm just browsing online, shopping for myself. I see something, I'm like, that'd be a dope Greek item. And so I pull in that picture, I edit it out a little bit, change patterns on it, add my own stripes and all this other type of stuff, and figure out how I can freak it a little bit in terms of the Greek world. And then once I have this design, I ended up talking to my manufacturing partner. And so I would send pictures and be like, is this possible? And like, yeah, we can make a sample. Because I'm obviously not going to invest in a product if I've never seen it in bulk before. And so he would make a sample, and I'm like, okay, send that to me. And so I would, have him send me like swatches as well. Like, I want to see the fabric. I want to feel the fabric. And so that happens, and if I like it, then we put it into production, and then now we got inventory sitting, and then I put that up available on the website, and then that's how we get from that. They purchase it, and it's in ship station, and I ship it out.
What's the time frame it takes of having an idea and actually realizing the idea into a full product?
It's crazy because I can wake up today, something that's on my head, and I design it, and I'm like, I send it over to the factory. That sample can be done within 24 to 48 hours. And I've had designs that I knew that he always usually just makes a sample, but I'm like, put this in production. I already know, because once it gets to a point, also I have that level of trust. Right. I know he's not going to produce something that's trash. So sometimes I'm like, put it into production. I know this is it. Right. That's a risk. Sometimes people don't want to do that.
But you talk about that being the risk of trusting somebody. I don't think we have to make this very clear. You are trusting somebody in Pakistan to create your product.
Yes.
And communicating with them to create samples and put this into production.
Yes.
That is a huge level of trust. You're talking about on an international scale on the other side of the world, somebody's creating a product for you.
It sounds crazy, but to me, it didn't really seem like that big of a deal.
It's very crazy. I don't think in Pakistan, you're talking about one person, you are a single owner of this business.
Yeah.
And 18 months into it, not even a full 2 years, you now at the point where you're having thousands of orders and you have to go to Pakistan to get your production done.
Yes. And
you have one-to-one relationships in Pakistan. We got to get into that.
Where you want to start?
So it's like you said, you went and tried to find manufacturers. How did you find one in Pakistan and was like, this is my person, I'm rolling with you, and we're going to build a relationship?
So I probably contacted 20, copy and pasted the same message.
All over different countries?
And I was trying to see I'm testing communication, who's going to respond the fastest, right. How can we have this generic conversation, all right, and organic conversation, not generic, but Atif basically was one of the ones he responded, and then we were having back and forth conversation. He was like, don't worry, I'll send you pictures at every stage, and just that is where I kind of knew that, okay, I could trust him. But even still, Atif knows to this day, if I had an inkling that it was going to go south with him, I was already testing out other suppliers while I was still working with him. And he was, it was one time he hit me up and was like, so, somebody said they saw your products being made from another manufacturer.
Street gossip over Pakistan.
I'm like, man, how did you even find this out? And so, he knew, but I think from him experiencing that, he knew okay, she's also serious.
Right.
So that means that
she's high quality or I'm gonna lose this business.
Right, exactly. And so that's what it was. It was he knew that I could potentially go somewhere else, and I know also they have the right to decide not to serve you,
right, or
not to work with you. And so for me, it was we started making products, and the quality was something that I knew I couldn't trust anybody else to do. I could have somebody else I could give them that product to make that same exact product, and the quality wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
And so it's not. Sometimes people will be like, oh, anybody can make a product, but it goes so much into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at what point were you looking at yourself in the mirror I'm an international businesswoman, I'm a real boss, we doing thousands of orders, you know what I mean? I got to go to Pakistan to make sure the product comes back good. This is because if you just say this to people casually, they're going to be blown away. You know what I mean? But it is not something that you hear about all the time. I think it's really important that we talk about this because people can then understand that it can happen for you as well. But did you ever just get overwhelmed, like, wow, like, what is my life now?
Mm-mm. It's like, my friends tell me all the time, like, Danielle, I don't think that you realize how, like, much of a big deal this is. And I guess for me, I feel like I'm just, I don't know, it sounds crazy, but I feel like I'm just doing what I got to do. But it's something that I enjoy and it's something that I want to last. Mm-hmm. For me, creating a business and a brand, it's like I don't want Divine Creations to be known as like a vendor, because usually vendors just sell products, and it's like they had a supplier that they selling that same product to other people. The uniqueness with our stuff here is that you can't get none of these products anywhere else. Right. And so with us is that I wanted to make sure that I invest back into this brand, because I feel like once you pour out into something, like it's kind of like it's a harvest. Like you planting a seed, you watering it sprouts. If that sprouts, it's giving back to you, and then it's going over and over and over again. And
this is something that you put your name and your time into. It's almost like this is not a right now. This is forever. You know what I mean? How am I going to be around for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years?
Exactly. And it's, for me, it was like, it sounds so crazy, but when I quit and I left the firm, it was like, okay, so how long am I going to be doing this?
Right.
And I asked myself that, like, dang, why am I looking at it as if this is going to be a short time?
Temporary.
Yeah, short-term commitment. And it's like, no, this can be forever. Mm-hmm. This can be something that, like, yeah, you got work coming on 10 employees now, but this could be hundreds of people working for the brand.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then have I thought about that? No, but it's like now it's like I want to invest back into making sure that this is a place that people want to work.
Right.
So my thing is that's where I was getting. It's like I want people to feel like, dang, like I actually enjoy working for Divine Creations. Like I enjoy working for this brand because, like it's not just like we just making sales and then the owner is sitting rich, and I don't want it to ever look like that. Like my employees stressed and then I'm sitting back, eating steaks every night. Like it's none of that.
How important and how cognizant of you are you of the fact that you're a black woman, you're a young black woman from Cleveland, Ohio, a Purdue grad doing this, and how important it is for other people to see what you're doing and the success that you're having and how much work you put into your business, like you creating your own Black History today. Especially within you're doing, like what you working inside Black History, talk about divine organizations, and you creating your own history at the same time.
It's bananas. It's like I think about it. I mean, I don't think about it actually. Let me be honest with you. I don't think about it. It's like it's crazy because when you think about experiences and stuff like that, you want to inspire people, and I think it's in Matthew. I can't remember if it's Matthew 5 or Matthew 6, but he was talking about you wouldn't put a lamp under a bowl. You gotta let that lamp be on a hill, and it gotta shine for all to see. And so for me, my dad always told me you have to let your light shine. And so sometimes I used to stress myself out about who saw the light. Yeah. Like I was like, God, I know you want me to let my light shine, but am I doing this right? Like, can people see it? Yeah. And I realized that I don't focus on who sees it, who will see it. Now I focus on, let me just make sure that I'm doing what I am supposed to do, so that people can see it. And I realized that like just making sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do here will impact someone. Mm-hmm. And so my focus is, I don't want it to sound selfish, but it's like I focus on myself in the sense of I have the ability to rob inspiration from somebody else by not doing what I feel like I'm called to do or what I'm supposed to do, because I feel like it sounds crazy, but I feel like this is a calling.
Yeah, no, it is. I think that shows. If it wasn't in 18 months, you wouldn't be at this point you at right now.
Yeah, I had a friend, she called me, she was like, Danielle, I just wanted you to know that there's an anointing over this. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. It gotta be, because God doing something insane. But
it's a mistake.
Yeah, and so it's like I focus on, when I say I focus on myself and most of the aspects of like of the impact, is more so I guess it is focusing on that person I impacted, but I focus on like I don't want to rob somebody else of the opportunity of so say it's kind of like a torch. I always had like this analogy of like it's like a torch and somebody else has a torch that's not lit.
Yeah.
If I'm stealing my torch and my light, that person is walking in darkness and they might never get that light. And so based off how I walk and how I live, I have the ability to light somebody else's torch.
100%.
So that's kind of like how I think about it. I try to make sure that I don't stress, because I have anxiety too, so I don't stress myself out by, am I touching people? Am I inspiring people? I feel like it's going to happen. And I just have to live right.
I think it's a perfect place to end right there. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
We appreciate you telling your story. We definitely want to get a tour of the facility and, look at some of the products, but thank you so much.
Thank you. Blessings.
There you have it. We like to give a special thanks to our guests. And for more financial education from Crane, visit our Facebook, Instagram, or website listed in the description below. See you next time on Crane Conversations.